Good evening, and good to see you again. I'm Father Russ Carmichael, as most of you know, and this is Street Talk. I've got a great guest tonight. My co-host is back with me across the table, Dominic. I just do want to say a couple of things. As we said on all the shows, you know, we're all sitting here hoping for Senator Maynard that he gets better and is taken care of. We really miss you, Andy. We know that people watch the show and you're getting communication from us, so we just need you to get better. And I want to say good. I know at the house, I know we have Bobby out there watching us tonight, sitting there watching us, and he's sitting there with Darren. Okay, so you good luck, Darren. I hope everything's good and you're getting better. And Ray, be nice tonight. Give me some time, okay? I know you'll probably call, but I'm saying hello to you now, Ray. Who I've got tonight, which is usually unusual for me, as most of my viewers know, because being a down and dirty Democrat, I got a great guest tonight, and I'm really having. I have Senator Rob Kane with me, and we're gonna be polite and nice. I'm not gonna go and attack them and everything. We got some serious issues we want to talk about, and of course you're running again, Russ.
Yep.
Bless you. Good to see you again. And,
Russ, good to see you, Dom. Maybe this episode will be called Behind Enemy Lines. What do you think?
For you, right? Behind enemy lines. Exactly right. Yeah. I know you're you're on vacation and stuff like that.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It worked out nicely for us. I was out, this part of the state and over in Rhode Island, and just a hop, skip, and a jump to come over and do the show. And thanks for having me. I enjoy it.
One of the things I want to ask you, when I ask everything, how did you get involved in politics? I mean, you're a businessman.
Yeah.
I do know a little bit about
Cartel Cellular. I lived up in Waterbury.
We've been there 20 years, knock on wood. Russ, it goes back to when I was 17 and Ronald Reagan came to the Waterbury Green and made a speech, and I was hooked. And ever since then, I just followed politics, really enjoyed it. Worked on a bunch of campaigns, stuffing envelopes and doing all the things that volunteers do. And then in 2001, in Watertown, the town I live in, I ran for the town council. I won. I was there 6 years. And then in 2007, when this opportunity came up, I sought it and won. And the rest is history, as they say. But I enjoy it. I really do. And I like being with people, like meeting people, giving back, getting to know people, and discussing all their issues, and try to make a few victories once in a while.
Well, a lot of people, talk about politics, and they say, well, you're both sides and everything. Really, it's a congenial business if you're really trying to do the right thing for people. And of course, that's why we know you are. It really is. It depends on issues, You know
what I think it is? I think all of us, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, are good people and have the best interests of their community, their districts in mind. We just have a different philosophy on how to get there.
And how you get there.
And so, I certainly am one of the more conservative guys in the building, but that's somewhat changed over the years as well. When you realize how to get things done and negotiate with the other side. And you mentioned Senator Maynard. He's probably my best friend in the Senate.
Yeah,
a Democrat from Stonington and
exactly.
I'm a Republican from Watertown.
Right.
He and I are, good friends.
But you're both fiscally conservative. I mean, obviously, I know Andy very well and stuff like that. Well, I don't. There's a lot of issues I don't think you're far apart on, and everything else like that. And
I think it's more, how you provide services for the people in your constituency. Meaning, I want less government. I want less intrusion, and the people in my district, Russ, that's what they want. They want lower taxes, leave me alone, and stay out of my way. And I kind of form to that philosophy as well. I don't think. We've seen the opposite in Hartford, as we've seen more government intervention, more mandates, more piling on small business. You mentioned small business. you know, it's a struggle. I talk to other small business owners. It's hard.
Oh, I know from that perspective that it is. It's a real struggle and everything else. I guess I'm on the other, as you know, I'm on the other side of that, and probably because of the individuals I deal with, the type of people I deal with, fiscally they're probably never going to get to at a place where they're going to be able to sustain themselves, and they lack so many things, and we have so many that are struggling. But I also know the reality between the reality that you need to have money, you need to be responsible, and then how do you provide for our population? Very difficult.
But I guess the way I look at it is, if you relieve those mandates from small businesses and you take away those burdens, you will have more taxpayers rather than more taxes. Meaning the small business owners, they're the ones who drive the economy, they're the ones who are hiring. They're the ones who also are donating to your Little League teams and your local community events as well. So I think if you give them an even playing field, and then give them the opportunity to do well, I think it adds to everyone. That's just the way I look at it.
That's the way, yeah, right. And I understand that. I mean, from obviously family that have been in business.
Well, we've all been actually business owners, and we've actually run large organizations, whether legal or illegal. We've been on both sides of the fence. Him, not me. So I mean, we certainly understand a lot of the issues that people face, and certainly as a small business owner, of many years, I never really looked to expand beyond what I have in myself because of having had that history of running large organizations and how complicated it can get. For me, it just never made sense for me to go beyond me, myself, and I. And I enjoy what I do, and I can fortunately make a good living at it. But
I think the attitude in Hartford a lot of times is all business owners are Bernie Madoff or Enron or MCI. We're bad guys. We're twisting our mustache, trying to hurt our employees, and that's not true. I mean, you mentioned my business. We've been there 20 years. But it's a struggle, and sometimes you lie awake at night wondering how you're going to keep the guys busy, how to make payroll, all the bills that you have, all your overhead, all those things. So it's no walk in the park, certainly.
I really think you're right. The idea is when you think about business, especially today, when you say business, people aren't thinking about the small business. They're thinking Walmart.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're thinking these huge corporations, multinational corporations that drove farmers out, that drove little businesses out. Walmart is one of the biggest killers of small business there is in the country, and people don't realize that. And I think that's really, I think even when I'm talking about it, that's what I'm talking about, those individuals that really hurt our economy.
Walmart's a great example because, when you have that minimum wage debate that we just had this session, everybody thinks, the person at Walmart should make more. Well, I have a company in my district called Lake Quassapog. Maybe you've been there, you've heard of it, I'm sure.
I bring my son up there.
Here's a guy who hires probably 150 or 200 teenagers, college-age kids to run the rides and do all that stuff. If you're raising the minimum wage to $10.10 and then add in the unemployment, the workers' comp, and everything else, it becomes a $13 employee just to
right.
do the kiddie rides. You know what I mean? So that gets expensive, and add $100,000 to his payroll, that alone. So how does Lake Quassapog, who's been around 85 years, survive when they have those kind of things? So you have to look at everybody. You can't just say, like, you're right. Everybody thinks Walmart and they're making billions, so they could pay their employees more. Of course, we want everybody to make more, but I just don't think the government should mandate it. That's probably the difference.
Yeah.
So I guess we really, you're the head of not the head of appropriations.
Ranking.
You're a ranking Republican for appropriations. So we really wanted to kind of get down to some of the nuts and bolts. I know for myself, I know how large budgets usually get put together, but I really have a lot of questions about like how the state puts this together, because I've watched some of this, and I know that the governor produces his budget, but what really happens like after that?
Well, that's the thing, Dom. The Appropriation Committee obviously meets, and the ranking members certainly, we have a very good rapport with our chairs.
Yeah.
And I think the four of us get along greatly. At some point, though, the door gets closed, and we get left behind. And the negotiation gets done between the majority party and the governor's office. And that's the point where I have a problem with, because I think, you look at parts of the budget, there are some ideas that we've given them that are in there. We could do more. So I think, we're not there to just fight them every step of the way. We have ideas as well. We have ways to get around these things. We have certainly areas that we think we can spend less or spend better. And that's the frustrating part. As far as the process up until that point, I think it's very good. I think we get along really well. We have good public hearings. People come and testify. We go through it with a fine-tooth comb. And that's how all of us met during the appropriations process, as you know. So I think it gets put together pretty well. It's just my problem is at the in the eighth inning, all of a sudden we get the hook from the manager, and all of a sudden we're outside looking in. That's the problem.
So I guess these are all broken down into different like subcommittees, and different subcommittees from appropriations. Take a look at each individual parts of the budget.
Yeah, there's 54 members in the appropriations committee.
It's a big, huge committee.
Yeah, so it really is. So we do break it down into general government areas, human services, education, transportation, you name it, and the agencies work with those subcommittee chairs and subcommittee members, and put forth what they feel. An example is DCF. That's a huge budget. I think it's like $1 billion. And in doing the digging that I did, I found that $30 million were in administrative salaries alone. So to your point about the services that we need, listen, I want to have social workers on the street, working with the people that need help, not some bureaucrat up in Hartford making six figures. So that's the philosophy.
No, and again, that's where a Democrat and a Republican like me come together, conservative. I don't want them there either. In fact, that makes me mad when I go in there with my guy who's sitting across from me, and they got 9 people on the other side of him, literally debating with him, and he beat him. He had more information than all of them, and I sat there, and that's what I do in meetings, is add up how much money's sitting across the table from me, and I say, what are these people getting paid for?
They come in packs.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Department of Transportation. I mean, you could go on to all the different agencies.
Exactly right. Mike, again, that gets right to how billions. We're at 3.6 something like that.
We were at 3.6 going into Malloy's administration, and I guess looking back at that. Would you say that that was more an economic situation? You had less money coming in from your tax rolls because the economy, essentially collapsed, or was that an issue of long term when things were very good? We gave people a lot,
a little bit of
both. We're kind of like hit the crossroads.
Giving something to your kid and saying, "Oh, I got to take that back." It just doesn't happen. I think it's a little bit of both. I really do. I think certainly the economy went sour nationally in 2008, and which gives the deficits that we have. But Governor Malloy likes to talk about blaming Governor Rowland about the deficits he inherited, but he has to now take ownership of this deficit that's projected into the out years, which is $2.7 billion for the next 2 years. So we could have stopped talking about the past and start talking about the present and the future. Also, he had the largest tax increase in our state's history, $1.8 billion, and yet we still haven't reaped those rewards. The economy is still struggling, unemployment's still high, that kind of thing. So I think it's a combination. We tend to overspend a lot in different areas. and the economy certainly struggles. And from what I understand, Connecticut is always the first to go in and last to come out, which is a problem.
Last time that it happened from '91, I think it took us 20 years to regain all the jobs that we lost, like back in the early '90s.
Yeah, we're not.
Real recession that came through.
It's scary when you think about all the jobs that are gone and we haven't got them back.
Well, why is that, Russ? Why are we losing jobs? Well, we're losing jobs because we're overtaxing these businesses. We have burdens and regulations, we have healthcare costs, we have energy costs. All these things add up. So when the chairman of UTC says anywhere but Connecticut, we should be in his office listening and saying, wait a minute, what can we do to change that? You know, we need manufacturing, we need good, solid.
Oh yeah, exactly. We have no, and this is one, I have to say, I got to deal with my own body. This is one area where I get really aggravated and everything else. I know we need high tech. I obviously my kids are high-tech people. They make very well. They're going to get paid well for the rest of their lives. But I deal myself in the street with job entry people. You know what I mean? Low-income people. Well, you need the jobs that they're capable of doing. I don't see that being built here. I don't see
That's right.
I don't see that coming in. I care about the scientists. Okay, I care about the scientists a lot, but I need, for one scientist, how many of my people can
And manufacturing is not your father's manufacturing anymore.
It's so different. So now you're talking education, training, all with the new stuff. So you're talking a huge investment.
That's what Connecticut was known for, right? That Yankee ingenuity. We built things. I mean, and we got to get back to that. You know, I joke that our entire economy is based on gambling, right? I mean, we have 2 casinos out here in the eastern part of the state, and then everybody down in Fairfield County works on Wall Street, and that's all speculation too. So our whole economy is based on that, and we need. You know, I come from. Basically the Naugatuck Valley. That was all your machine shops, your little tool shops,
and everybody else.
They're all in that area, you know. And we have a few victories here and there. We saved a company in Watertown. It's called Global Steering. They make the drive shaft for the Jeep Grand Cherokee, and we were able to work and try to maintain that company. 240 jobs. I created a bill to the Oxford Airport Development Zone.
How was the enterprise? It's
going. We had our first company come in. They 30 jobs. They make specialty cabling. Companies called ATI. They're from Nevada and Oregon and out west, and they came all the way to Oxford, Connecticut, and they're by the airport, and we've got 30 jobs going there already.
Now, was a power plant going in that
well, let's move on to the next subject.
We'll pass on that, right?
We'll pass there.
I don't, though, to be honest with you, I'm staying out of that fight because I represent both towns, Middlebury and Oxford. Oxford does want it, Middlebury doesn't want it. So I just don't, I'm not going to get involved with that because it's a difficult issue. But I don't know. It's a hard one. It's going to be a hard-fought battle.
And when we're talking, I just want to make sure I didn't see Senator. We're talking to Senator Kane here, okay? And I just want to make sure that the people out there, my viewers, know who we're talking about. That Senator Kane's with me, Rob Kane, and he's from down south. He's down from the up here from the Oxford area. Usually the names are across on our title thing, and I don't see them there. So I just want to make sure my viewers know.
Who is this guy? What's he talking about?
What goes into like an enterprise zone? Like, I mean, you're talking about this. What kind of incentives get put in? Because I know that I think they were doing one in
Bradley Airport. Well, it's not quite an enterprise. It's a little bit different, but it's somewhat. Basically, the Oxford Airport is a great location with Route 8 and 84. We've got plenty of land, raw and usable. And what we've done is given any company that comes into the zone, and it's got a 2-mile radius pretty much, tax abatements for 5 years. So they get free property tax for 5 years. Now the town will be compensated by the state, so the state has some cost. But basically what it gives you the opportunity says, hey Dom, you want to open your business, why don't you come to Oxford? We've got plenty of land, you could put up a building right there, we'll give you, it's tax-free for 5 years, create some jobs. And what it does, as opposed to the governor's First Five initiative, which picked winners and losers and said, all right, ESPN will give you money, UBS, NBC, that kind of thing. This says anybody could come.
This is an open, it's an open slate. Based off the New York one, doesn't New York do something?
I'm not sure.
I've seen commercials for that lately. New York is doing a lot of
that. But there's other type of, what you're talking about in enterprise zones, they try to help the inner cities in Waterbury, Hartford, New Haven, Bridgeport, to get people down into those areas as well. So similar.
I think one of the proposals that I really liked was something, unfortunately, he didn't win his race, but John McKinney put forth, which was taking the brownfields and doing something similar to that. So like the inner cities, we're talking about the New Londons, the Waterburys, the New Havens, the Bridgeports that really need, jobs to be able to turn sort of the brownfields or companies that have been around for a long time.
That goes back to regulations. That's where the Department of Environmental and Energy and Environmental Protection, DEEP. If you're a business owner and you say, all right, I got clean land out here in Oxford, or I got to clean up this site in Waterbury, what are you going to do? Because DEEP is just so many burdens, so many regulations, so much red tape to go through. I just got an email from a constituent today who opened up a grinder shop, just for basic retail. And he said Department of Transportation is giving them a hard time, and they're going to close down the plaza. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of problems we have, and those are the kind of things that should be easily fixable, and that's what drives businesses away. And so how many people could we be hiring at those locations? But we're going to give them a hard time when they go open. So to your point, I agree with you on the brownfield stuff. We need to make it a little bit easier for those companies to incentivize to go there, because if it's too much of a burden, why go there? You could go somewhere else.
I do see like Bridgeport is cleaning up like a lot of like the brownfield sites, and I've seen, they're huge areas.
You have to, because it goes back to the 40s.
Our cities are, we're prime locations. I mean, certainly Waterbury, going up through that area, you're 8, you're 84, you're right near the highways.
You're talking highways and everything else like that. And for me, because I'm down here, I'm looking at the ocean. Okay, with the port, we got one of the biggest deep water ports going on, the expansion of the Panama Canal. So we're talking freighting. We got a tax-free zone right here that, as far as I'm concerned, is not developed like it should be. And I blame that on our local leadership.
I love the eastern part of Connecticut, by the way, if I can divulge for a minute here. This is a great part of the state. It's so beautiful. The Noank and Stonington and all these little towns, it's just great. And
quaint
is so much.
It
is. Coming out here next week for my vacation, too.
Exactly right. You should have brought the boat up, except you're going to drive it.
Didn't have enough time to bring the boat up here this time.
I know Mike Casserole would be out there talking about you with the boat. But no, the area is really great, and it's I don't know, it's not publicized enough. Okay, small businesses Again, what you're talking about is what I really believe. I don't believe in the big thing. Is small businesses, even small manufacturing, that can be done and has to be brought into places, and that's an investment.
We've actually talked a lot about the reality of circumstance. I think large manufacturing, the way that it used to be. I think China's gobbled up a lot of that.
And all of those.
But what they haven't been able to do is, that really specific, products. They want the mass, let me make 5 million of these, whereas, the smaller manufacturing where you can be specific to the details of what your customer wants.
I'll just give you another silly example, but a small example of what I did. In one of the towns I represent in Woodbury has probably 30, 40 antique dealers there. And so they came to me about creating this Connecticut Antiques Trail, similar to the wine trail.
Right.
And what I found is there's a great number of antique dealers out here.
Connecticut. Exactly right. We have them in town, all the way up to Putnam and stuff like that. People, I know. Massachusetts has one of the first and greatest things like that where they go. That is That is
They were
fantastic.
They were our biggest ally in this bill.
Yeah.
Is people down here in the eastern part who came and testified and helped us with that, Mystic area, all that. And, you know, we got the bill through because of their help. So you find those things, that little niche, you think, and all of a sudden, wait, that affects me too. Let's, you know, and they work together, and we did that. So those are the little things that you can do for all the state of Connecticut.
The whole state?
So.
Yeah, exactly. Again, my biggest thing is what's going to happen with the waterway. I mean, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I'm looking forward to see what they're going to try to do with that. And what about our transportation problem?
That wonderful walk bridge down there that can't seem to close correctly.
You know,
my way.
But here's the problem, and you know, I'm going to go partisan for a minute.
Go ahead.
Governor Malloy has raided that transportation fund to the tune of $540 million over his term. So, you know, I was down in, you know, I traveled in April down in Georgia, and I paid like $3.30 something for gas. You come back here and it's $3.80 or whatever it is, $3.90. It could be, who knows. But the point is that it was 40 or 50 cents higher. Now, Russ, I wouldn't mind paying that extra if I knew that money was going where it's supposed to go, which is in the transportation fund, fixing those bridges, fixing the Mixmaster in Waterbury has got a lot of problems.
That's
There's
a
so many
real
things.
big issue waiting to happen. Yeah.
Add to the robbing of the transportation fund, we build a busway from New Britain to Hartford for $600 million that nobody's going to take, and that we have to continue to fund going forward, maintenance and people and everything else.
How much of that, I know some of it's obviously federal. And how much, I guess, what percentage is like federal, what percentage are we putting up from like our tax
Great
dollars?
majority of it is federal money.
I got a call. There we go. We'll lighten up, boy. You hit it then.
All right.
Good evening. You're on Street Talk with Father Russ, Senator Rob Kane, and Dominic Cotton, my co-host. Hello?
Yes, hello. I got a comment for your guest. What does he think? What does he think about legalizing marijuana?
Well, there were
What's your thoughts on that? Because I don't know.
Sure. Thank you. There are a couple things. First, I don't believe in legalizing marijuana. I think certainly the federal law is opposed to that. I think that has to be taken up on the federal level. We do have medical marijuana.
We have medical marijuana.
Which I voted against as well, because you know I don't like standing in the face of federal law. But having said all that, the law that's in place is actually pretty good, and we have a grower in Watertown, in my hometown, that's growing medical marijuana. And the funny thing is, this is how strict it is. The Department of Consumer Protection must approve all visitors. Myself and Representative Sean Williams were denied. So the state senator can't even get in. Joe Schmo from the streets not getting it, let me tell you.
I'm glad to hear that.
It was interesting.
That's interesting.
So, so you know, I don't believe in legalizing marijuana. I think it's a gateway drug, and it flies into the face of the federal law. But the medical marijuana turned out to be a pretty decent law. We'll see where it goes. I don't know.
Is that okay?